So the next problem, we're going to use distributive property first. We have to distribute the 0.4, which is going to give us 0.2x. I think that's wrong. It should be 0.6.4 times 2 is 0.8. I apologize. 0.8x plus 0.2. Then I'm going to distribute the 3, which is going to give me 0.6x minus 6 minus 4. So my next step is going to be to combine like terms. So if I look at this side of the equation, there are no like terms. However, if I look at this side of the equation, I see that negative 6 and negative 4 are like terms. So I can go ahead and put those together to get a negative 10. Then I'm going to bring down 0.6x. Sorry, I'm going to fix that. 0.6x equals 0.2 plus 0.8x. So now there are no like terms. So I'm going to start to bring my x's together. I'm going to subtract 0.6x from both sides. That side cancels. 0.6x from this side. I'm left with 0.2x. I bring down plus 0.2 equals negative 10. Extend my page. Then I'm going to subtract 0.2. Subtract 0.2. Sorry guys. Subtract 0.2, negative 10.2. And then I have x 0.2. I bring everything else down. Remember, this canceled. I'm going to divide 0.2 on both sides. 0.2 on both sides. So x equals negative 51. Just double checking my answer. And that is correct. All right, next problem. So here again, it says determine the number of solutions, which means I have to choose from 1, no solution, or infinite solutions. So those are my options. So I'm going to distribute the 8. So I'm left with 8j minus 32. And I'm going to distribute the 4. So I'm left with 8j minus 32 again. So immediately I notice I have the same slope, which is 8. Same y-intercepts, which is negative 32. They're the same on both sides, if you remember that, on both sides. So this is infinitely many solutions. If you couldn't see it there, you could keep going. So I can minus 8j from both sides. They both cancel. So I'm left with negative 32 equals negative 32. And again, I have the same on both sides. I can go ahead and keep adding 32 using inverse operations. And I'll be left with 0 equals 0, which again is an indicator of infinitely many solutions. All right. Number 7. So a function is defined by multiplying the input, which is x, by negative 3/4, then to add 2. So if I'm talking about a function, I know I should have y equals negative 3/4x because I have to multiply them, and then I'm adding 2. And again, I can use my method of starting with the y-intercept, that free point, and then using rise over run, which means I need to go down because I have a negative, and then I'm going to run 4 times. So I'm going to start at 0.2, and then I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'll do my other points in a different color. 1, 2, 3, and then run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my next point in blue. And then I'm going to do it again. Go down 3. 1, 2, 3, and then run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's my next point again in blue. So now I have 3 points in blue. So I can go ahead and graph my line. That line is bad. Try it again. Go ahead and graph my line all the way through the graph. Arrows at both ends. Labeling the graph. And we are done with number 7. Okay, let's keep going. So we have a dance-a-thon here, and they're asking us what was the amount of money raised per hour for the first 8 hours. Well, I noticed they already cut me off at 8, and if I remember my language of per, I know that they're talking about slope, so they're asking me for the slope. So I'm writing out my slope formula, and I'm gonna identify 2 precise points. So my first point is 60 minus 2. I'm sorry, not minus 2. 60 comma 2. And my second point is, and I wrote that reversed, 2 comma 60. My second point is 4 comma 120. So if I go ahead and label this x1, y1, x2, y2, then I can substitute right into my equation. My y2 is 120 minus my y1, which is 60, over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 2. I simplify. I'm going to be left with 60 over 2. Simplify again. M equals 30. So my slope here is 30. So if I move to part 2, they said for the next 4 hours, we should have twice the rate times 2 of the first rate. So the first slope was 30. So if I take 30 and I multiply it times 2, I'm going to get 60. So my new slope is going to be 60. And I already know that my y-intercept is b. So if I had to write this equation, it would be y equals 60x. There is no y-intercept because if they're having a dance-a-thon and the dance-a-thon does not start, they do not raise any money. So this is how I know my y-intercept is 0. So again, I can create a table of values starting where they left off. And I actually do that over here. So 8, and I'm going to do 8 times 60, which should give me 480. 9 times 60, which is going to give me 540. And then 10 times 60, which is going to give me 600. So these are the next points that I'm going to add to the graph on the previous page. So I will go to 8. I'm going to get rid of that line. I would go to 8 and go to 540. I'm sorry, 480, and then 9 at 540. And then 10 would be somewhere around here, 600. So if I added a new line, get rid of that. Gonna add a new line. Oops, sorry guys, I didn't mean to shift everything. Y equals 60x. So then I know it says to complete the graph for the next 4 hours to represent the total amount of money raised at the dance-a-thon. I know, and it says explain how you knew where to draw the graph. The rate doubled, so the new slope equals 60. You can write that out, equals 60. And the y-intercept is still 0. after